Hello viewers, you're watching BDC TV and this is Desi Life in America. Immigration-related legislation on the Capitol Hill is quickly coming to a screeching halt despite loud calls for action on immigration in the recent months. Political wrangling with the future of immigration policy has been leading national headlines over the past few months. However, the focus of the Congress has been largely on DACA, while neglecting a vast majority of immigrants who are coming to the US legally, like myself and some of our panelists, who continue to struggle with several decade-long green card wait times, also called as permanent residency. For those of you who are in the know, the employment-based green card backlog is not new, but it has worsened over the past few years, especially for Indian immigrants, due to unfair immigration policies that delay green card processing. Indian Americans, most of whom are high-skilled with higher education in STEM and related fields, are the worst sufferers of the current immigration system, which imposes 7% arbitrary per-country cap on allotment of green cards. These high-skilled families are severely impacted due to this backlog, which restricts their career advancements. They cannot freely travel in and out of the country. They cannot invest in an entrepreneur venture. Their H4 kids who are not US citizens are at risk of deportation, just to name a few issues they're facing on a day-to-day basis. Thus, with immigration being the hot topic, we are joined today in our studio by 5 high-skilled immigrants from our very own beloved state of Massachusetts. Our objective with today's conversation really is to understand firsthand what these issues really are, what's the key impact to the Desi community in America, and understand what are the steps forward for this community to resolve some of these issues. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our panelists in today's conversation. Welcome all to BDC TV studio. We're glad you're joining us for this conversations around the whole green card backlog issue and see what the road path forward really is for us and the wider community. Anirudha.
My name is Anirudha. I'm from Hopkinton, Massachusetts. I've been here for 10 years. Waiting in the green card backlog since then, and I have a master's degree from a US university. At a high level, US issues 1 million green cards every year, out of which around 140,000 goes to the employment-based category. The rest all go to different categories like the family-based, refugee asylum, and all others. In the employment-based category itself, that 140,000 green cards are split between 5 or 6 employment-based categories, and all those are subject to a 7% country cap, which means that every country gets only 7% of that 140. And when you come down to the numbers at a high level, you come down to around 5,600 per country, and that still gets whittled down to 2,300 per country per year, because there is a misinterpretation in the law that makes every person's dependents also counted in that same employment baseline. They shouldn't have been counted, but they are, and which means now that a populous country like India or China only get 2,200 or 2,300 every year, when they should be getting at least 56, but they don't. And given that there are so many people coming from India and China, that adds to the backlog. What's also compounding the problem is there are countries that are not using the whole of the limit, the quotas that they're given, and those visas are not reused or recaptured to the countries that really need it. Right. Because of which people who have been here for 10 plus years are stuck in their careers. As you said, you can't do any venture stuff. You cannot do anything by the law, only because you are stuck in this backlog and waiting for this one thing called as a green card to move forward with it.
Right. So this seems a really critical issue to the wider Desi immigrants in this country. Pooja, from your perspective, what do you think is the day-to-day impact to our community?
Sure. Hi everyone. This is Pooja Ravichandran. I'm from Norwood, MA. So I'm on H4 visa. I have a H4 EAD which lets me work in the US. Right after graduation, I've been in a continuous career without a break. In 2015, I got married and had to accompany my husband to the US in the hope that H4 EAD would let me work, would let me continue to work even after coming to the US. So I came here and then I waited for a year to get my work permit, and then I started working. I'm a software developer in a reputed university in Boston. So right now the government is working towards rescinding this kind of work permit. It's kind of this H4 EAD is granted to people, only a certain section of people, H4 visa holders.
So clearly the H4 EAD is one of the kind of the symptoms coming out of the green card issue. So people are stuck in this green card for a long time, for decades and decades. And on top of that, when you start taking away H4 EAD employment from the spouses, it kind of impacts the community, right?
Yeah.
So either you solve the problem and let the people get the EAD as part of the green card, or at least have the spouses work on the EAD. But that's where the biggest backlog impact really is to the community at this time, I think. And this is not new. This has been going for a long time, right? So Vasant, you've been here 15 years in the country.
Right.
What's your thoughts on how long this has been going on? What's changed in these many years since then?
So just to put it in perspective, the last time Congress really acted on immigration reform was back in 1990. This is when they allowed people on H-1 visas to apply for green cards. And they established all the quotas, which Anirudha described for you. What happened since then is a lot of people came in on H-1B visas because they were high-skilled. America wanted these workers, so we came in, we contributed to the economy, we worked hard, and then we were authorized to apply for employment-based visas. But since then, the backlog has been increasing year by year. So right now, to give you a perspective, people who applied back in 2008, yeah, that's right, 2008, are getting green cards today. That's already a 10-year long wait. So it's just going to keep getting worse as we go along in the following years if Congress doesn't do anything about immigration reform now. So we hope that they do something to clear these backlogs right now.
Thanks. I think that's good insights from coming back and from 2008, and this has been stuck. And I know from a priority date perspective, for folks who are aware from the priority date perspective, it's not moved a lot in the past few years.
It's
right?
not moved at all in the past year.
Right.
It's been stuck at 2008 for about a year right now.
Right.
So.
And then the irony of the matter really is a lot of people don't know that, like coming to the country, that they don't realize the gravity of the situation.
Right. U.S. is still attractive to a lot of people. So they want to come and work here, they want to come and live here, but they don't realize once they come, they have to go through this whole green card process, which is going to take forever. For example, if they come in today and say the employer says, okay, I'm going to apply for a green card for you, that whole process takes a year. But after that, you're just stuck.
Yeah.
So you might not get a green card. You might actually die. Sorry, it sounds dramatic, but you might actually die before you might get your green card. So
To add to your point, when we filed for our green cards, it was 5 years back, and at that time the wait time was around. It looked as if on calendar it's going to be 5 years.
Yeah.
That makes you feel very hopeful. You kind of tell people around you saying, no, don't worry about it. It's just 5 years. I can wait 5 years. Yeah. Heck, I'm going to go and buy myself a house now because my green card is filed.
Right.
But it's moved only a month since then, the priority date. So that's the severity of the issue. People on paper it seems very rosy. Today it's 2009. You will say, oh, hey, 8 years. I can check in for 10 years here. But you don't know that you are one job loss away from being deported from this country. Exactly. It's very difficult in this climate to get a job when you lose one. Yeah. It's very difficult to relocate to a different part of the country when you have a family, you have a school and everything. It's very difficult when you have things around you that you're laying your roots down here, and then your job goes away, and then what?
Exactly.
And that's something that people don't realize. They don't realize the severity of it, and that's where we are kind of.
And being the system, we understand the issues because we are impacted. So we're trying to study and find solutions to that. Tejasri, you're the most recent entrant into this whole backlog issue. What do you think from a third-party perspective? When you look from outside the system, do people realize the gravity of the situation, not just from immigrants but from the lawmakers and Congress perspective?
So I would be very blunt about it. Not many people talk about this issue. Like, I have friends, when we discuss the whole green card backlog, everybody has the same answer that, maybe in another 5 years, as Anirudh said, that you'll get it. But then that's not correct. You may actually die before you get your green card.
Oh, God.
We have a priority date, and if I go by calendar, it is minimum 45 years that my green card would come or may come. There is no certainty about it. We as a community, I feel we need to speak up more. We need to make our voices heard loud and clear so that the lawmakers, the public in general, knows that what a frustrating process it can be just to wait so that we become a permanent resident of a country for which we've been paying taxes. We've done everything legally. We are honest, we are hardworking, and we are here to attain and cherish our American dream. So it can be really scary. If you ask me what my future looks like, I am currently on H4 EAD. I can work, but then again, I don't know if DHS decides to take away that right, I will be stuck home and I cannot do anything other than volunteering. So it is definitely scaring. And then everything is, surrounded by your green card because you cannot navigate jobs. Your employer holds your green card processing as well as your H1. You cannot navigate job. Right. And we as a highly skilled immigrants have the potential to significantly contribute to the American economy. And we've been doing that. If you go, if you just look at the stats, there are so many students who studied here and have started their own businesses and are employing Americans as their employees. Right. So if given an opportunity, I guess, we can do wonders, and we have already proved ourselves, I guess. So it is definitely scary, but then, and the lawmakers need to understand that it impacts our lives in a major way, in ways you cannot even imagine. Right. So unless this whole country cap is being eliminated, there is no way forward. At least, I cannot see anything, other than that. Of course, we've been in a position where we are mobilizing people, making them aware about the situation. But then that's not enough, because when you look at DACA, everybody knows what's happening with DACA. We are, the only difference between DACA and us is we are legal immigrants, and we have the same sort of challenges. We do not talk about it. We need to talk so that people know and can do much for us, especially the Congress.
Right, so picking up on the mobilization piece around the grassroots efforts, so Rubal, I know you've been championing some of these efforts, not just in Massachusetts, but nationally as well. So can you give us, our viewers, a quick brief as to what work has been happening at a grassroots levels to ensure we create enough awareness and reach out to lawmakers to resolve this problem?
Thank you. So I live in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I've been in the country for about 10 years, and let's say like on several different visas, at least 5 different visas. So I had a very close encounter with how broken the immigration system is. Right, I had the opportunity to be in an intercompany transfer employee on an L1 visa. I had the opportunity to be a dependent spouse, like we talked about H4 EAD. I also was on an F1 student, and now I am, after 10 years, I just got my H1B, and now I'm probably looking like we defined like 70 years, or probably let's say that I'll actually die before I get my green card.
Really optimistic.
Yeah, so the sad fact about this whole problem is like when people are living, when a young working individual who's like in his 20s, late 20s, mid 20s, he's in India, and he looks at America as a land of opportunities. He at the moment, like there's just a lot of examples on how companies are going to Indian colleges and recruiting directly from the colleges, which so you don't need like to prove the fact that there are intelligent folks out there. But whoever is coming to America does not realize or that what he's getting into. So I just was shocked by how broken the system is, and we started working on talking more and more about it. About a few years ago, 6 of us went to DC. We met to the lawmakers. We expressed the problem. We kept raising awareness on it on every social platform that we can, without I would say like we left no stone unturned. And 2 years later, we are like 600 people were in DC under Skilled Immigrants in America. We formed this small group of ours, which have like 150,000 people right now, and we're trying to do everything we can do to raise awareness so that people know about this issue, realize this issue is as important as DACA. Legal kids are being deported, and families are being broken. People cannot invest in the community, and people are losing their businesses. So the goal is to like raise more and more awareness going forward.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty impressive, the kind of work which is happening on the grassroots level. I think all of us are involved here in ensuring that we raise the right voices to our lawmakers to ensure that we kind of resolve this immigration issue. If you would get a chance to talk to our viewers as a call to action, if you were to speak to our viewers who are potentially in the same backlog as ours, or potentially speak to the lawmakers in the camera, what would you tell them? Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers. So we talked a lot about the issue itself. We talked about the impact. We talked about the background. We talked about what the perception in the larger audiences. We talked about the grassroots efforts happening. But why is the issue not resolving? It's been going for a long time. Why is it becoming exponential year by year?
Yeah. So to your question about resolving, it's a congressional thing. We don't know what they are going to do. It's been a long time since our real reform has passed. We are hoping that something happens this year. Why it's becoming exponential? Just to take like a high-level numbers. Suppose there are 50,000 individuals coming here every year. Only 2,000 get it every year.
Yeah.
What about the 48,000? They get stuck in the backlog. Now that's just exponentially adding without any congressional action, without any review of the old practices, the old laws. It's only going to increase. You're only getting 2,000 out of this big bottleneck right now, and that's only going to increase the wait times. It's not going to be linear, where you came in 2017, you'll get it in 2045.
Right.
If you came in 2010, you probably will see it in 2045. One of the logics, or 2050, or maybe more.
Right.
But if you came in 2017 or 2015, it's going to be a while before you see it. It's going to be really a long time. And while that wait is happening, everybody might think that you're leading a good life. Sure, you can afford a car, you can afford a house, you can afford the basic necessities and then some.
Right.
But then you're all again, your spouses are dangling on this, the knife that says you may not be able to work anymore. I mean,
Right.
Pooja just talked
Yeah.
about H4EAD.
So for people like me who are who have to wait for the green cards for a long time, we're at risk of losing our right to work. So I would request the lawmakers to fix this green card problem as soon as possible, so that would be a more permanent solution for us than dealing with these H4EAD uncertainties.
So clearly the backlog has been going for a long time. It's
Yeah.
only growing exponentially, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned about the solution pieces. So what are the potential solutions on the table at this time?
So if I may step in on that. So instead of having administrative fixes like H4EADs, these are just band-aids on a big gaping wound. Rather, we could have some bills, but guess what? Congress has a few bills in the House as well as the Senate, which addresses most of the issues we discussed. So removing country backlogs, protecting American workers, making sure H-1Bs are not taking away jobs from Americans, which is important for us as well as for the Americans. So if Congress can agree on these legislative actions, hopefully, if this year or maybe in the next year they do this, it'll be beneficial for all of us as well as the Americans, because we're going to be here contributing to your economy, and it's not a zero-sum game, immigration. It's going to be contributing. Basically, all of us win, and it'll be better for all of us. So hopefully something happens. And
There's clearly some traction happening at this time.
there are at least three different bills being discussed right now, but they're not bringing it to the floor for a vote. So hopefully you all can call them and tell them, hey, can you bring this to the floor to vote?
And that's where our grassroots efforts are happening at this time to be able to reach to the lawmakers. We're willing to add to that point.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody just mentioned here, I'd just like to add that it's very, very important that we as immigrants become aware that how important this is. Few years ago, I had no clue on how the green card process works, or I was actually not worried about it only until when I thought, okay, I need to start a recycling plastics plant, and I figured out, no, I cannot do it until I have my green card. And then I saw kids who were aging out, getting to 18 years of age, and they had to leave US because their parents are still on the green card. So I consider myself as an activist in this area, but I know that all of us have obligations, personal life, family, but we need to make sure that this green card backlog problem becomes an important part of our life, and we should resolve it, because right now the laws that we are trying to change are probably 30-40 years old.
Right.
If we don't work together as a team here today, our kids in 30-40 years will have to face this problem. And like I said, like there is visa abuse, there are people who are waiting to start business, there are people who want to create jobs, so there are different aspects of it, and there are different bills about it. But unless and until the people who are affected by it come forward and talk about it, this is not going to solve. So everybody has to get out of the comfort zone and talk about it. That's how things get solved.
So talking about that, so let's take 2-3 minutes to speak to our viewers directly, whether it be the Indian immigrant community or the lawmakers. What is that pitch you want to make to them before we close this conversation?
So it's very simple. The call to action is very simple. Whether you are an immigrant, whether you are a citizen, we need everybody's help. We don't want, we are not talking to just one sect of our population. We are talking to everyone. This is a national issue. It's an issue that is very important. America's competitiveness is at stake. Families' lives are at stake. There is this crisis that's going to happen where you won't be able to retain the top talent in this country. There are people who studied here, will go away from here, and there are countries who will take them with open arms because the green card backlogs made them wait here. Families will get split. They will get split apart. It's a crisis waiting to happen, and the solution is very easy. Just pick up the phone, go to your neighbors, or start talking about this issue. If you are stuck in this, if you're facing this issue, if you're stuck in the backlog, there's nothing to be ashamed about. Don't hold back. Talk about it. The more you talk about it, the more support you will get, the more people you will surround yourselves with. That's one. Second, go talk to your congressional representatives. Go talk to your senators. You are well within your rights to do so. Even if you're an immigrant, you're not voting, but you still have to. It's in your rights to go and talk to them about the issue that you face. They have been elected to represent the people of their community, to take care of the people in their community. And if they don't know about our issues, how can they help you? They make yourselves very available through town halls, open office hours. See those, look for those, go for those. Try to get a group with you. Doesn't have to be a part of a big organization or not. Just get your neighbors with you. Start doing this. Just talk about the issue. Share your personal stories, and that should be more than enough to get traction on this issue.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. So this was the end of our conversation today. Thank you so much for coming in, taking our time from your esteemed time over the weekend. This is one of the many episodes coming in the Lazy Life of America. We will be delving more into the issues of immigration facing the immigrant community in Massachusetts and broadly in the nation. Once again, I'd like to thank all the panelists. I can't thank you enough. If you have any questions and if you want to share your stories, if you are still going to agree with our backlog like Anirudha and Reebel and everybody else mentioned, please reach out to BDC TV or CR.US, and we'll be more than glad to speak to you and bring you on board in this movement that we're building to help resolve this issue. Until next, goodbye.